After an accidental kiss, my stoic beta bodyguard suddenly quit. I thought he was embarrassed, but he just scoffed. "You're overthinking it." Then he vanished from my world. And just like that, my 14-year crush on him was over. I was so pissed. During my next rut, I had a one-night stand with him, then turned around and hired a new bodyguard. But he went crazy, cornering me in the bathtub, his eyes dark and stormy. "Should we try a different kind of relationship, Mr. Lin?" Alex Cole suddenly wanted to quit. When I offered to triple his salary and he still wouldn't budge, I realized something was seriously wrong. I've explained it a dozen times. Yesterday was an accident. Besides, I'll offer you compensation. Alex stood on the other side of my desk. The sleeves of his black shirt were rolled up, revealing strong, pale forearms. He glanced down at me, his expression nonchalant. "You're overthinking it. But you, Mr. Lin, why are you so desperate to keep me?" I twirled my gold fountain pen and signed the contract on my desk, avoiding his gaze. "Even if it were a dog, after 14 years, you'd be sad to see it go." The man let out a sudden, self-deprecating laugh. "You'd be sad over me?" I looked up and frowned, about to argue. Just then, the evening sun slanted through the window. Warm, orange light traced the sharp, cool line of his lips. His dark, cold eyes were lost in the shadows. Damn it, he was gorgeous. I'm the head of the Lin Corporation, an alpha. I'm sitting on billions of dollars in assets with businesses spanning the globe. When I was 10, I found Alex Cole by chance and made him my bodyguard. Alex is a beta, emotionally stable, meticulous, and a hell of a fighter. For 14 years, day in and day out, he never let me get a single scratch. Last night, after single-handedly taking down a group of thieves trying to sneak into the archives, he came to my office to report, a simple bandage on his arm. By the time I finished work, it was already 3 a.m. Alex had fallen asleep on the couch nearby. He was a big guy, and the large sofa seemed a bit cramped for him, his long legs looking a little out of place. He had a faint, minty scent about him. It was the cologne I'd stipulated in his contract. His usually sharp eyes were hidden behind thick lashes, and a small cut near the corner of his eye added a touch of vulnerability to his handsome face. Spying on me? Alex's eyes fluttered open. Exhaustion made his dark pupils seem even deeper. He stared at me groggily, like the heavy shadows of a deep forest. "I got this close before you woke up. Your awareness is slipping. That's a violation of the contract. I'm docking your bonus at the end of the month. What did I do in a past life to deserve being your bodyguard?" A sudden noise from outside the door cut off Alex's grumbling. A window shattered, and shards of glass flew to my feet. It must have been accomplices of the thieves from earlier, looking to go down swinging. A pair of strong hands grabbed my waist. I was pushed down, flat on the floor, and then, it happened so fast. I felt a soft, lingering pressure on my lips. For a second, I lost control of my pheromones, and they flooded the entire room. Thank God Alex is a beta. He couldn't smell them. Alex quickly pulled away. Then he expertly took care of the thieves and handled the aftermath flawlessly. And the very next day, he handed in his resignation letter, his face a perfect mask of composure. Alex was determined to leave. No matter how much I pressed him, Alex would just ask me, expressionless, why I wanted him to stay. And I would tirelessly give him the same answer, because there's no better bodyguard out there. That's why I didn't want him to quit. Is that the only reason? Alex stared at me and asked. He was getting bolder, not even calling me Mr. Lin anymore. I crossed my legs and took a sip of red wine. What other reason would there be? Even though I had replaced the sofa in my office with a more comfortable one for Alex, he still left without a second thought the next day. It was 6 months before I saw him again. It was at a gala hosted by the Booth family. My uncle, Arthur, and I were invited. Alex was there too. After leaving my service, he immediately started his own company. While betas generally aren't as capable as alphas, their emotional stability and lack of ruts or pheromonal interference often make it easier for them to succeed in business. In just 6 months, Alex had somehow found his niche in the market and was running a booming business. As a rising star in the corporate world, he had naturally been invited by the booths. He stood in the crowd in a tailored suit, his aura cool and detached, his features sharp and deep. Coupled with his striking looks, he had already become the center of attention. I almost didn't recognize him. Rachel Booth, the eldest daughter of the Booth family, ran over to me. Regret letting him go? Alex seemed to hear her and turned to look in my direction. I shrugged, feigning indifference. Who says I regret it? Rachel is an alpha and the head of the Booth Corporation. We've known each other since we were kids. It's hard to believe the reckless, unreliable kid she used to be is now running such a massive company. And for some reason, she has some strange misunderstanding about my relationship with Alex. I heard that when Alex left my employ, she actually cried until she passed out. As they were carrying her away on a stretcher, she was still muttering something like, "Damn it, who broke up my ship?" So, seeing Alex and me together now, she was understandably excited. She raised her voice, making sure Alex could hear. "You can lie to your friends, but don't lie to yourself. Don't you know how much you like him? Leo. Long time no see. Miss me?" Just as I was about to murder Rachel on the spot, someone threw themselves into my arms. It was Rachel's younger brother, Ethan. He had just returned from abroad 3 days ago, and this gala was his welcome home party. I caught Ethan, and as I looked up, my eyes met Alex's. His gaze slowly drifted down, lingering for 3 full seconds on the hands I had around Ethan's waist. Then he actually started walking toward us. His lips curved into a polite smile, but his eyes were ice cold. Who is he? Was he questioning me? I ignored him, but Rachel scrambled to explain. Don't be jealous. They just grew up together. Ethan went abroad to study when he was 10, and they haven't been in touch since. Ethan is an Omega. He'd been hugging me since he arrived and hadn't let go. The scent of sea salt and mint in his pheromones was making my nose itch. Alex looked at me, his smile widening. We haven't seen each other in 6 months either. Where's my hug? Alex's stare felt unfamiliar. Beneath his slightly arched brows, his gaze was dark and intense. I looked down and gently pushed Ethan away. Why are you back all of a sudden? You didn't even tell me. Didn't you propose a marriage alliance with me? Ethan blinked his watery eyes at me innocently. Don't worry, Dad's about to announce it. Rachel exploded. What? I don't agree to this. Great. Not a single one of them was easy to deal with. Before the news of the marriage alliance could go public, I went to find my uncle, Arthur. I got straight to the point. Was this your doing? Arthur was standing in a corner of the balcony, swirling a glass of champagne. He grunted an without even looking up. I wasn't provoked by his attitude. Instead, I spoke slowly and calmly. Very well. In 5 minutes, my lawyers will be here to inform you which parts of our contract your actions have violated and what the damages will be. Before I could finish, the champagne glass shattered at my feet. Is that how you talk to your elders? And is that how you talk to the chairman, Deputy Manager Lin? I replied evenly. Arthur is the adopted son of the Lin family, my father's younger brother. My parents died in a plane crash while traveling abroad for business. To inherit the Lin Corporation, Arthur gave me $250 and dumped me in the backwoods 300 miles from the city. He told everyone I had lost my mind with grief and run away. He wanted me dead, but I survived. I started from nothing and, at 18, acquired the Lin Corporation. I stripped Arthur of all his power within the company, making him bow to me. However, he was born incompetent. To this day, he still doesn't realize that his entire fortune and life are in my hands. He was now jumping up and down in a rage, pointing a finger at my nose. The Lin Corporation is mine. I built it with my own 2 hands. I laughed, a mix of anger and amusement. If it's yours, then tell me, based on the Q3 financial report, which business sector should the corporation focus on expanding next year? He froze for a second, then shrieked, regardless, only a marriage alliance with the Booths will create a powerful union. Don't you get it? I don't need to gain any business advantage from a marriage. Arthur was my only connection to my past family. He would often tell me stories about my parents when they were young. So, as long as his actions weren't too out of line, I would look the other way. He took my kindness for weakness and grew bolder. I stepped over the broken glass, moving closer to him. You, on the other hand, don't care about the company or the market at all. All you see is your own petty fame and fortune. I leaned in, lowering my voice and enunciating each word. Tread carefully. Don't make me lose my patience. With that, I opened the balcony door and left. I'd only taken 2 steps when I felt a gaze lock onto me. It was an indescribable feeling, heavy and intense, that made me feel like I was choking. You made me wear mint-scented cologne so I'd smell like Ethan's pheromones. Alex, in his polished leather shoes, strode up to me. He smiled, but his voice was laced with clenched teeth anger. Is that right? The reason wasn't what Alex thought. Besides, betas aren't supposed to be able to smell pheromones. How did he know Ethan's were mint-scented? But I didn't have time to explain. The most important thing now was to find Rachel and get the situation under control. In another 10 minutes, I was going to be engaged. Just then, Rachel came rushing toward me with 2 assistants, clearly looking for me too. It was my clueless old man who arranged this behind my back. I've already shut down all news channels, so don't worry. I also called my own team to confirm things were contained on the media front. By the time everything was settled, Alex was nowhere to be found. Once the trouble was handled, Rachel reverted to her usual laid-back self. Haven't seen him for 2 seconds and you're already searching the world for your lover boy? No one will think you're a mute if you don't talk, I snapped. Seriously, are you just going to wait until the bird is in hand before you confess? She saw the death glare I shot her and quickly corrected herself. Sorry, my bad. She paused. The bird has already flown the coop. I turned my head in frustration, not wanting to deal with her. A flash of white caught my eye. Watch out. Rachel shoved me hard. I lost my balance and fell to the ground. I looked back to see a silver dagger glinting as it changed direction and came at me again. I rolled away just in time, but the dagger grazed my right leg. The sharp pain slowed my movements. My heart pounded. The next attack wouldn't be so easy to dodge. Rachel rushed in front of me and kicked the dagger away with a clean, sharp move. I was pulled into a mint-scented embrace. The scent was so familiar. It had to be Alex. Does it hurt a lot? The voice wasn't the deep, magnetic one I expected, but clear and delicate. I looked up to see Ethan, his eyes filled with tears. It was as if he was the one who'd been hurt, not me. This kid was still as sensitive as he was when we were little. It's nothing, just a scratch. Don't worry. I patted Ethan's head and stood up with his help. This kind of thing was common for me. In business, you make enemies, and there's always someone who's jealous. They all think that if I disappear, they can pick apart the crumbling Lynn Corporation and become the next me. But because I've always had Alex, it's just been a fantasy for them. With things escalating like this, the Booth family's party was over. After confirming the attacker was tied up and under guard, Rachel opened the doors to let the guests leave, apologizing to each one. When I approached her, she bowed solemnly. I'm truly sorry about today. For this to happen on my turf, I will give you a full explanation. Good thing it was me they stabbed. If someone else got hurt, they'd sue you for everything you've got. I waved it off, but Rachel grandly declared, as a token of my apology, I've brought you your lover boy. Alex was sitting in a chair, carried in front of me by 4 huge guys. It was a black office chair. Alex was even holding a thick stack of documents. It looked like he'd been yanked right out of a meeting. The chair was set down in front of me. Alex stood up and gave me a faint glance. Are you okay? Ethan answered before I could. I'll take care of Leo. Don't worry. Alex stared at my hand resting on Ethan's shoulder, then turned and walked away without a word. I called out to him. Where were you just now? I had instinctively assumed Alex would protect me. He had for the past 14 years. He paused at my words. I'm not your bodyguard anymore, Leo. I have no family. From the age of 10 until 6 months ago, all I had was Alex. But now I finally understood. Without that employment contract, Alex and I were nothing to each other. Ethan walked me to the door of my mansion but wouldn't come inside. He stood with his hands clasped nervously in front of him, looking like a sad puppy caught in the rain. We'll see each other again soon, right? Ethan asked, looking up at me with his big, wet eyes. Isn't your welcome home party being rescheduled for next week? I'll definitely be there. Okay, I'll be thinking of you until then. Ethan's clear, earnest gaze was almost too intense to meet. I didn't want to get engaged to you, but it's not because I dislike you, I explained. I know. 14 years ago, even if there were unavoidable reasons, what I did was wrong. I'll do my best to make it up to you. He didn't seem to mind at all. He even handed me a gift box. I opened it. Inside was a limited edition bracelet, simple and stylish. Ethan was as thoughtful as ever. Before we were 10, Ethan and I were inseparable. Then he left without a word, which was a huge blow to me as a kid. But I quickly forgot about it, because I was dumped in the wilderness, and all I could think about was surviving. It's all in the past. I haven't held on to it. I put on the bracelet and patted Ethan's head. His eyes were red as he nuzzled my palm. Suddenly, my throat felt dry. Something was wrong. I was due for my rut, but I'd taken a suppressant that morning. However, my pheromones, now spiraling out of control, told me the medication had likely been tampered with. Affected by me, Ethan's pheromones started to turn cloyingly sweet. The scent wafted into my nose, making my head spin. Ethan, you should go. If you're not feeling well, you can hold me. Ethan blushed and wrapped his arms around me. His warm, soft fingers brushed against the small of my back. He lowered his head and whispered, I don't mind. The places Ethan touched felt like they were crawling with a million ants. It was an itch, a pain that went bone deep. The next second, a large hand pulled Ethan and me apart. I was pulled into a cold, stern embrace. The owner of the embrace had a deep, pleasant voice, but his tone was infuriating. I was meaning to ask, you don't have a bodyguard now? The long-awaited contact. My pheromones could no longer be contained. But Alex couldn't smell them. In an instant, my reason was consumed by rage. I yanked Alex into the house and locked the door behind us. I pinned him between me and the door, leaned down, and bit his lips fiercely. I'm in a rut. Your cooperation would be appreciated, thanks. I dreamed about when I was a kid. Unable to cope with the drastic changes in my life, I ran wildly through the woods at night and fell into an abandoned well. The world was desolate. I lay at the bottom of the well and slowly closed my eyes. Stargazing down here, a jacket was draped over me. It was still warm from his body heat. Alex sat down on the ground beside me, looking up at a starless night sky. See? Doesn't the sky look like a piece of burnt charcoal? In my crumbling life, Alex was the only one who sat down and joked with me. Even though all we were sharing was a pitch-black sky. It was absurd and warm. I opened my eyes. Alex was propped up on one hand, looking down at me. The blanket was loosely draped over his stomach. His toned body bathed in the soft morning light. His pale skin looked almost translucent. Tired already? A mocking smile played on Alex's lips, but his large hand gently shielded my eyes from the sun. I remembered. That night, Alex had carried me on his back out of the abandoned well. The evening breeze that brushed my face had a cool, sweet minty scent. Ever since then, I've loved mint. But was it just the mint I loved? Who's tired? I grabbed Alex's hand, flipped over, and pressed my lips to his. His dark eyes stared right into mine, his expression unreadable. His hand caressed the back of my head, deepening the kiss. After a long moment, Alex pushed me away. You like me that much? A thin strand of saliva still glistened in the sunlight between our lips. I resisted the urge to pounce on him, bite him, and flood him with my pheromones. My voice was deliberately cold, maintaining my alpha pride. I told you it's just because I'm in my rut. The tenderness in Alex's eyes rippled and shattered into an emotion I couldn't understand. A strange, self-mocking smile touched his lips. I really am a glutton for punishment. God damn it. I had just signed the contract for my new bodyguard. And Rachel was already at my house, wailing dramatically. Is the Booth Corporation out of business? Why do you have time to meddle in my affairs? My ship just sank. How can I possibly focus on work? Rachel shook me wildly. How do I get you two to just talk? Should I slap some sense into you? You can try. The weather today is rainy, so you should come with me to talk business with Alex. I don't want to see him, I said, my tone turning icy. We had parted on very bad terms. I figured Alex didn't want to see me either. Rachel deflated. My spirit is broken. I'm a wreck. It's all your fault. You have to take responsibility. That's a disgusting thing to say. Please don't say it again. Her nagging was getting on my nerves, so I decided to take her out for a quick meal and then send her home. But as soon as we sat down at the restaurant, I looked up and saw Alex walking in. I thought it was one of Rachel's schemes, but she was next to me, pacing like a cat on a hot tin roof. What do we do? Why is Alex here? You said you didn't want to see him. What do we do? I shrugged, picked up the menu, and prepared to deliver a lame joke. We could. Before I could finish, Rachel shoved me under the table. Just hide for a bit. Once he's seated, we can sneak out. I wanted to say this was completely unnecessary. It's not like seeing Alex would kill me, but I couldn't get a word out. I even held my breath, because Alex walked straight over and across from Rachel. He sat down. The tips of Alex's shoes were damp with rain. They peeked under the tablecloth, stopping just 2 inches from me. Great. I'd rather just die on the spot. Rachel spoke, and I knew without looking that she was grinning from ear to ear. Did you run all the way here in the rain? Where's Leo? Don't worry, he'll be here in a minute. Rachel stood up. I kicked her ankle. She yelped, ah. Then, she continued acting, completely unfazed. My dear friend, I won't be a foolish groundhog and disturb you too. I'll be on my way now. It was obvious Rachel had cooked up some elaborate plan to get Alex and me to meet. But was it possible that if she hadn't just shoved me under the table, I would have already met him? Resigning myself to my fate, I texted my new bodyguard to find a way to get Alex out of there. The new bodyguard texted back that he had been kidnapped by Rachel and couldn't make it. Are you serious? I tried to make myself as small as possible and held my breath. I opened my chat with Alex. Our last conversation was from 6 months ago. I slowly typed, I'm stuck at work. Don't wait for me. Before I could send it, a new message popped up in the chat. How long are you going to hide? Leave it to my bodyguard of 14 years. Look at that professionalism, that reaction time. The floor was a bit cold and damp from the rain. After crawling out from under the table, I sneezed several times in a row. Alex handed me a cup of tea, perfectly warm. He casually draped his jacket, which he had just dried, over my shoulders. His fingertips brushed my neck. A shiver ran down my spine. What's wrong? Alex, ever perceptive, noticed my discomfort and smirked. I met his gaze and raised an eyebrow. You're still using that mint cologne. Alex's eyes darkened, and he pulled his gaze away from me, cleared my throat. When I was 10, Ethan hadn't presented yet. I wouldn't have known what his pheromones smelled like. Alex's head snapped up to look at me. I looked away, afraid his searing gaze would set me on fire. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. Only when I got outside did I realize it was still pouring, and I didn't have an umbrella or my car. I was waiting for a cab when a Lincoln pulled up in front of me. The window rolled down. Alex had one hand on the steering wheel, and with the other, he gestured to the passenger seat. Get in, or I don't mind getting out and tying you up myself. There was a pretty big gap between my fighting skills and Alex's. I resigned myself to my fate, got in, and buckled up. Looking up, I saw a knotted string charm hanging from the rearview mirror. The colors were bizarre, and the knot was crooked and messy. Ha 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 ha, you've kept this ugly thing all this time? And you hang it in such an obvious place? Aren't you afraid people will question your taste and refuse to work with you? I examined it over and over, unable to stop laughing. Alex glanced at me and turned the wheel. It's fine. I'll just tell them Leo Lin made it. Then they'll only question your taste. I was taken aback and had to retort, I gave that to you over a decade ago. Doesn't look dirty or faded at all. You must really treasure it. I waited for Alex to get flustered and fall silent, But he just said calmly, "Speaking of which, I kind of forgot. Why did you give this to me in the first place?" "You forgot that?" I sat up straight, my voice rising unconsciously. "I wanted you to be my bodyguard, but I didn't have any money, so I gave you this as collateral. I promised you could exchange it for $10 million one day." The rain blurred the glass, but the curve of Alex's lips became clearer. "This is $10 million. Of course I have to treasure it and hang it up to show it off." So that was why he'd kept it like new all these years. I thought I had caught a glimpse of Alex's fleeting affection for me. Turns out I was just being sentimental. I took a deep breath and said, "You can cash it in now." "I won't." Alex hit the brakes. The car stopped right in front of my house. The rain showed no signs of letting up. It drummed against the glass. The enclosed car felt like a lonely island in a storm. I pressed, "Why not?" He countered, "Why should I?" "Because it was my promise, and I do owe you." "Then let it be a debt," Alex smiled. "Otherwise, we wouldn't have any connection at all, would we?" Alex leaned over to unbuckle my seatbelt. His gaze dropped and lingered for a few seconds on my wrist. I followed his line of sight. I was still wearing the bracelet Ethan had given me. Alex looked thoughtful. "Have you been feeling unwell lately?" "My rut has been a bit erratic lately, and suppressants aren't working well." "But what's the point of telling a beta? He wouldn't understand." I shook my head. "No." Alex gave me a meaningful look, then got out and opened an umbrella for me. The cold wind whipped into my clothes, but a restless fire ignited in my chest. There was a puddle on the ground. After stepping over it, Alex turned and offered me his hand. Resisting the urge to tackle him to the ground, I pushed him away. "I'm home. You can go." The dizzying feeling from my body's strange state made me misjudge my strength. The push sent me stumbling backward. Alex stepped into the puddle, and his long arm shot out, wrapping around my waist. The black umbrella tilted. Raindrops from the umbrella's edge fell behind me like a curtain. Alex's voice mingled with the sound, like a deep, melodious instrument. "Haven't you figured it out yet? You're the one who needs me more right now." The moment we were inside, I turned and pinned Alex against the front door. Alex calmly peeled me off him. He scooped me up and carried me into the bathroom. "You got caught in the rain. You'll catch a cold if you don't take a shower." The bathtub was huge, big enough for both of us to lie in side by side. Alex picked up the shower head to test the water temperature. I sat at the bottom of the tub and reached for his belt. He flicked a few drops of water at my face. "Don't move." I ignored him and climbed onto his shoulders. I was so familiar with this body. Every time he stood in front of me, protecting me, I would look up and trace the line of his neck with my eyes. But when I finally bit down on the back of his neck, instinctively searching for his scent gland, I found nothing. My pheromones had already filled the entire bathroom. But Alex couldn't smell them, and he wasn't affected. He could still calmly and rationally push me away. I was furious. "It's not fair. Why is it only me? Why am I the only one who wants you?" I didn't get to finish. Alex yanked off his tie with one hand. His other hand slid through my hair, gripping the back of my head and pulling me up firmly. He leaned down and kissed me, cutting off the rest of my words. The bathroom was dim. Outside, a storm raged, and rain lashed against the window. A flash of lightning illuminated Alex, his collar disheveled, looking both sensual and dangerous. "Calm down yet?" Alex finally stopped. He cupped my face, our foreheads touching. "So, tell me, was that kiss an accident or was it because of your rut?" I couldn't process anything he was saying. I tilted my head up slightly, wanting to continue the kiss. Alex placed 2 fingers on my lips. "An accident or the rut? Answer me." I pushed his hand away. My mind was a mess. I thought Alex was still my bodyguard. As my bodyguard, you just need to obey me. A weary smile appeared on Alex's face. "I got tired of being your bodyguard a long time ago." A sharp pain shot through my chest, and I could barely breathe. I reached up, grabbed Alex's chin, and pried his lips apart with my thumb. "Say that again." I said, "Should we try a different kind of relationship, Mr. Lin?" Alex tilted his head, letting his cheek rest in my palm. His deep voice, mixed with the damp air of the bathroom, drifted into my ear. For example, lovers. When I woke up, the sky was bright. I kept my eyes closed and felt the space next to me in bed. It was empty. The thick scent of mint cologne from last night was gone, too. Instead, there was the smell of toast. I went downstairs and saw Alex just taking off an apron. On the ornate dining table were 2 porcelain plates with sandwiches. The bread was toasted to a light golden brown. A nearby vase held a bouquet of fresh flowers, their petals unfurling in the clear sunlight. "Why didn't you sleep in?" I asked. "You don't need to rush to make breakfast. You don't have much stamina. I was afraid you'd pass out from exhaustion." Alex caught the fist I swung at him and pressed a kiss to the back of my hand. "Let's eat," he said, then paused. "Wife." I twisted his wrist, pinned his hands above his head, and pushed him onto the dining table. "Think again about what you should call me." Alex's knee bent, brushing against my waist. His voice was low. "That depends on my mood. He usually seems so aloof and quiet, but it turns out he's a total siren." After breakfast, Alex went to get his luggage and move back into my house. Alex took his clothes out of the suitcase. I took them and hung them one by one in my bedroom closet. I couldn't keep the smile off my face. "Let's go on a date this afternoon. I have an important meeting this afternoon. How about tomorrow?" "You don't need to go to the meeting. I've already taken care of everything. I'll handle your company's affairs from now on." As I spoke, I reached for a box in Alex's hands. But Alex didn't let go. I stopped talking and looked up. Alex was staring at me, his gaze cold and unfamiliar. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'll be the breadwinner from now on. You just stay home and keep me company." I didn't understand why Alex was suddenly so angry. His expression reminded me of the icy glare he used to give our enemies when he was protecting me. "Am I your enemy? Why are you looking at me like that?" "Then what am I? Why can you just interfere with my work and my decisions? Did you even consider my feelings? Why were we fighting again?" Alex had just moved back in. I really didn't want things to get ugly, but we were already arguing. And I've never been one to back down. "You left without a word. Did you consider my feelings? To this day, you haven't explained why you suddenly quit." I let go of the box. The backward force sent Alex stumbling. He fell onto the hardwood floor. The contents of the box scattered all over him. A leaf pressed into a bookmark, a small card with a smiley face drawn on it, a faded candy wrapper, a star made of twigs. They were all things I had given him as a child. You kept all of this." I was shocked. During the time we were starting out, we were practically nomads, constantly moving. I thought all these little trinkets had been lost long ago. I never expected Alex to have kept them so carefully. Alex knelt there, picking up the items and gently placing them back in the box. I knelt down to help. "Because I have no right to love you." Alex said it quietly, out of the blue. I didn't understand. "Huh?" Alex grabbed my wrist. He was stronger than me. Before I could react, he had me pinned to the floor. Then came a long, suffocating kiss. Or rather, a series of bites. I broke free from his grip, wrapped my arms around his neck, and flipped him over so he was underneath me. "Alex, what the hell is wrong with you?" Alex lay on the floor, a smear of bright red on his smiling lips. I couldn't tell if it was his blood or mine. He smiled, a captivating, heartbreaking smile, but his words were as cold as a winter night. "All you want is a trained dog that does what it's told. But I'm not. Congrats on moving in together." The next day was my birthday. I hosted a party at my house. Rachel came over, beaming, to congratulate me. She crossed her arms, looking smug. "I told you my 6-month reconciliation strategy would work wonders." "Yeah, right." I wasn't in the mood and gave her a dismissive reply. Rachel didn't pick up on my attitude and kept going. "Hey, where's Alex? Didn't he just move in yesterday?" I glanced at the person standing quietly behind Rachel and changed the subject. "When are you going to give me my new bodyguard back? Don't make me sue you for false imprisonment. He's here voluntarily," Rachel said defiantly, nudging the new bodyguard with her elbow. "Right?" "Yes," the new bodyguard replied, looking down seriously. Miss Booth and I have mutual feelings for each other. Is that how you use that phrase? I looked at Rachel, puzzled, only to find her suddenly blushing. It dawned on me. Did you use a honey? Before I could finish the word trap, Rachel pointed toward the door and shouted, drowning me out. Alex is here. I whipped my head around. There was no Alex. Rachel was just messing with me. Why so jumpy? Rachel asked, then had a realization. Oh, I get it. You two are trying to have a secret relationship, right? You don't get a damn thing, I grumbled, rolling my eyes. TSK, TSK. Kids these days are so playful, Rachel said, slinging an arm around my neck and leaning in to whisper. So, this beta can't be marked and likes to run off. When are you planning to lock him up? I'm not a freak like you. I can't mark Alex. And he's not affected by pheromones. So he'll never crave me on a biological level. In our relationship, he can walk away at any time. It was my fear of losing him that made me want to hide him away. And that only pushed him further away. Well, it sounds like our great Mr. Lin has finally met his match. Don't laugh at me. How are you going to wrap up your little honey trap scheme? Rachel kept shushing me and dragged the new bodyguard away, muttering to herself. Finally, some peace. I tilted my head back and finished my champagne in one go. Leo, happy birthday. Ethan, dressed in a white suit, looked gentle and pure. He stood before me like a sweet-natured angel. I rubbed my temples, feeling a bit fuzzy from the alcohol, and remembered the last time I saw him was during my rut. I'm sorry about that day. Leaving you locked outside, I didn't mind. What's wrong today? You seem down. Ethan's voice was gentle, and he truly didn't seem angry at all. His concerned gaze reminded me of how we used to be as kids. Back then, I would tell him all my secrets. And I'm just saying, if you loved someone a lot, would you want to hide them away and possess them completely? The words were out before I could stop myself. Then I immediately felt awkward. How could someone as upstanding as Ethan possibly have such a dark thought? I would. His straightforward answer stunned me for a few seconds. Ethan didn't seem to notice my surprise and continued to explain. But if that person was completely under my control, would they still be the person I fell for in the first place? He was right. That's where I went wrong. I only wanted to conquer Alex. I never thought about cherishing him. I smiled, feeling a sense of release. You're really gentle, Ethan. Only with you, he replied with a small smile. If Alex ever hurt you, I wouldn't hold back. I was curious. For example, I'd tie Alex to a chair and tickle the soles of his feet with a feather. Ethan's face darkened as he spoke in a menacing tone. Then he blinked and looked up at me. Was that too evil? Did I scare you? That was truly evil. You terrified me. We chatted for a few more minutes, and then it was time for me to cut the cake and give a toast. According to the schedule, a promotional video for the Lin Corporation was supposed to play on the big screen before I went on stage. The lights in the ballroom dimmed, and a spotlight turned to the screen. But instead, the screen was live streaming the new product launch for Stellar Group. The design concept and product highlights were identical to the new product the Lin Corporation was set to release next week. I quickly calculated in my head, including the R&D and marketing costs already invested, the company was looking at a loss of at least $2 billion that we'd have to deal with in the short term. Who sent me such a generous gift on my birthday? The venue erupted in chaos. Guests started murmuring, wondering why I was live streaming another company's launch at my own birthday party. The chairman of Stellar Group and I are old friends. I invited him to my birthday party today, and he said yes, but only if he could have the center seat. I walked slowly onto the stage, continuing with the program. Looking around this ballroom, the big screen seemed like the most prominent spot, so I gave it to him. The guests laughed. I let out a silent sigh of relief and raised my glass. To the massive success of Stellar Group's new product. Applause rippled through the audience. It seemed I had managed to smooth things over. After cutting the cake, I stepped off stage, and my assistant immediately rushed over with a laptop. There are no signs of a hack on the internal network, and the security footage from the archives shows no suspicious activity. I nodded. It must be an internal leak. Whoever did this is long gone by now. They wouldn't stick around for me to catch them. My assistant's face suddenly turned pale. Alex, he's not here today. It wasn't him, I said firmly, then scanned the ballroom. Who else is missing? My eyes swept over the entrance, and I saw a familiar figure. Alex was wearing a black shirt with the top 2 buttons undone, a thin sheen of sweat on his collarbones. He walked through the crowd toward me. Sorry, I'm late. My assistant was on high alert, stepping between us to question him. Where have you been? I pushed my assistant aside and led Alex to a conference room. You're just in time. I need to discuss something with you. I quickly explained the situation to him. Alex listened patiently and then said, there's still a way to salvage this. We could collaborate with a popular IP to differentiate our product from the competition. That's exactly what I was thinking. I quickly drafted a partnership agreement and printed it out. Your company's Zenith IP is red hot right now. I've been looking forward to this collaboration for a long time. I handed the contract to Alex as if it were any other business deal, and I added casually CEO Cole. Alex took it silently, his eyes downcast, lost in thought. A familiar shout broke my train of thought. How long are you going to keep me tied up? Only then did I notice that my uncle, Arthur, was being escorted by 2 burly men, standing obediently at the door of the conference room. I'm going to call all the guests in here and let them see how you, Leo Lin, treat your elders. With that, he started yelling at the top of his lungs. Someone, help, come quickly. Alex gave a signal to have someone cover his mouth. I stopped him. Don't let him shout. It's my birthday, everyone's here. It's a good time for everyone to see what he's done. I didn't do anything. It's you two who have kept me tied up. Aren't you afraid of being called disrespectful? Alex took out a plastic bag containing a stack of charred documents. I recognized them immediately as the design drafts for the Lin Corporation's new product. Arthur's arrogance instantly vanished, but his mouth kept running. Alex, why are you working so hard for Leo? Do you think he'll give you a second glance? Your statuses are completely mismatched. Still trying to stir up trouble. I was about to slam my hand on the table when Alex spoke coolly. We're in love. It's not your place to object. Arthur shook his head and sighed dramatically. If I were as lucky as you and had someone like this to help me, I would have achieved far more than Leo. The Lin Corporation would be nothing. I'd have gone global by now. Alex stood up, grabbed a piece of scrap A4 paper, and stuffed it in his mouth. First of all, I would never help someone like you. Save the rest for the courtroom. Arthur was escorted through the bustling ballroom and, in front of everyone, put into a police car. He had lived a life of pretense, loving only fame and fortune, and now his life was ruined by his own hands. Before Arthur got into the car, I threw a wad of cash in his face. The expression on his face was priceless. I couldn't help but smile. This is the 250 I owed you. We're even now. Have a nice life. Goodbye. The birthday party ended in a flurry of chaos and excitement. After seeing off the last of the guests, I collapsed on the spot. I'm so tired. Someone save me. Alex wrapped an arm around my waist and lifted me up. He carried me upstairs and placed me on my bed. Then he turned to leave. I quickly grabbed him. Are you leaving? Alex didn't turn around, just mumbled a low I felt like a jilted lover. Furious, I let go. Alex had only taken 2 steps when I launched myself off the bed and pinned him against the wall. In a flash, Alex's index finger was once again between our lips. Why are you kissing me this time? He asked, his eyes dark. Does there have to be a reason? Yes, there has to be a reason. Are you always this rational? Yes. I'm not an omega. I can't be marked. I'm not ruled by pheromones, and I always have the power of rational choice. I slowly loosened my grip on his collar. Just as my hand was about to fall, Alex grabbed it tightly. But I will always choose you, Leo. He leaned in and kissed me, soft and lingering, but impossible to refuse. Took all my strength to push him away. Let's try a different dynamic, CEO Cole. Alex frowned. CEO Cole? That's right. From now on, we're just friendly competitors. Isn't that what you wanted? A sharp pain shot through my wrist as he tightened his grip. Say that again, Alex asked through gritted teeth. Seeing him so flustered, I slowly reached up and wrapped my arms around his neck. I bit his earlobe and whispered, "What I mean is, you'll always be you, and I love you." Bonus: Alex Cole's love diary. Marking: I'm a beta. I can't be marked. This drove Leo crazy. He said that matching rings worn daily also count as a form of marking. So he commissioned a master craftsman to make a pair of rings. After I put mine on, I used it to pick up a fountain pen. I guess you get what you pay for. Can even hold a pen. Leo didn't mind. He held up his hand. Clink. Our hands clanged together. See? This way we're attracted to each other too. Is this guy an idiot? But if they're magnets, do they need special care? Making up. Every time we fight, I pretend to be angry. Leo always pounces on me, trying to apologize with kisses. But he's too slow. I always have to fight the urge to just grab him so I can wait for his embrace. Leo is very proud of the fact that he's always the first to apologize. Of course, you have to be the one to soothe your own wife. Can you be faster next time? HM? With a quick move, I flipped Leo, who was lounging on the sofa, onto his back. I leaned down and captured his lips. Like this, business is war. I mean, CEO Lin and CEO Cole just got married this morning, and this afternoon they're here at a bidding conference. That's dedication. And for some reason, they're fighting tooth and nail over one project. Do you think they don't get along? That night, bedroom, I patted the bed arrogantly. I won the Booth Corporation's project, so I get to be on top tonight, CEO. Lin. A little while later. Me angry. You can't just cheat. Him. Want more? The reason I left. One day, I was in the kitchen making breakfast. Leo shuffled in, sleepy-eyed, and hugged me from behind. He mumbled, "Why did you quit after you kissed me back then?" I replied, "Because I didn't want to be just your bodyguard." Then you should have just told me. With that arrogant attitude you had back then? If I had told you directly, you would have bullied me to death. I wrapped my arms around Leo's waist, kissed his forehead, and continued. A dog can stay by your side forever, but it will never have the right to love you. My life would just be waiting at home for you, while you have your own life. Our relationship would have become unbalanced. Unlike now, I quickly backed away to avoid being hit, where your life is about competing with me for projects every day. The past. The first time I met Leo, he was fighting a stray dog for food. I went over and tore off half the flatbread from the dog's mouth. Thanks. I looked at the hand he held out. It was soft and delicate. He looked like some rich kid who'd gotten lost. Go get your own. I didn't think I'd see him again. A delicate flower like him, no matter how carefully tended, couldn't survive in these backwoods. The second time we met, Leo was lying in a well like a corpse. I walked past, but I turned around, jumped into the well, and carried him out. The third time I saw Leo, he was being mugged. I easily fought off the robbers and turned back to tease him. Doing pretty well for yourself. Huh? Leo told me he was going door to door collecting scrap in a village 300 miles away. He had saved up some money and was planning to move to the city. Then why are you here now? I asked. Because I was looking for you. He shoved something ugly into my hand. Come with me. At first, I agreed just because it seemed interesting. I wanted to see how far this delicate but stubborn little flower could go. Later, I realized it wasn't me protecting Leo, but him saving me, pulling me out of the mud, climbing with him, breaking through stone walls, and finally standing at the summit. Zenith. One day, Leo had a sudden idea to design a brand for the two of us. How about we call it Zenith? After he said it, he tilted his head and thought, why does that sound so familiar? Punishment. Leo likes to hide behind doors to scare me, but I always see him coming. Then he gets angry and pins me against the door to punish me. I've always suspected he just wants to kiss me and uses it as an excuse. One day, I pretended not to see him. Leo jumped out triumphantly. Ha ha ha. I grabbed his hands and pinned him against the wall. Our magnetic rings scraped together with a dry sound. I leaned into Leo's ear and said slowly, "You scared me. So now, isn't it my turn to punish you, HM? What I want." 6 months ago, the day after I quit, I went to find out who the Lin Corporation's new bodyguard was. Turned out Leo was completely careless. He went out alone without anyone. So, I made a deal with my best friend, who's also a great fighter. During the day, he would secretly protect Leo, and I'd pay his salary. At night, we'd switch and I'd take the night shift. Once my company was stable, I started protecting him during most of the day myself. One time, I intercepted a group of thugs and got stabbed in the right shoulder. My whole shirt was soaked in blood. My friend didn't get it. You're willing to risk your life for him, but you won't just show up and confess? He didn't understand. An unequal relationship has only charity and pity. And what I want is Leo's love. Birthday. Since Leo's birthday has become our engagement anniversary, he now likes to celebrate his birthday with mine. If you make a wish on my birthday, it probably won't come true. I'll make one for you. Then what's your wish? I leaned over and kissed the cream off the corner of Leo's lips. My wish. It already came true.